You can buy a watch from pretty much any brand instead of this. For example, 117 Tissot PRX Automatics, 9 Rolex Submariners, or 3 Audemars Piguet Royal Oaks. Today I'll show you why you shouldn't buy this watch. Let's get into it. Hello, welcome to Swiss Watchmaking, a channel where I do my best to show you watches that you wouldn't otherwise get to see up close. If you love independent watchmaking, this is the channel for you, so let's get into the video. This watch has one of the coolest movement designs I've seen in my career. When people say that watches look like small cities or factories on your wrist, this is the watch they should show you. The movement design of it looks like a little power plant, with these bellows on the back, cage in the front, and the sheer size of it. The brand is competing in its own sphere, the world of hydromechanics, combining mechanical components with fluid technology. Something that sounds horrible on paper since you don't want to mix liquids with mechanical movement. That's why we have waterproof cases and crowns, of course, but they did. They figured out a way to combine these two worlds. And this exact model also features the use of electricity, so liquids, electricity, and mechanics all in one piece. This watch isn't trying to be the best price performance watch you can buy, it's about dreaming and creating something unique. When I think back on the watches that pulled me into this industry, they were anything but price-conscious objects. Independent watch brands pull you into the industry the same way that a Ferrari or a Lamborghini makes you stop and take a photo of them when you see them on the streets. You shouldn't buy this watch if you're looking for a next investment piece or if you want to wear it doing extreme sports, neither if you're looking to get approval from your non-watch people. It's hard to choose if I like the front or the back of the watch more. Each side has its own distinct features. You notice it has two crowns. The screw down on top is for setting the time and the one at 4 o'clock is used to wind the dynamo light source, and by pressing the button you activate the light. Once you push it, it stays on for about 3 seconds. You can also push and hold and the light will stay on until the power reserve runs out. And once you're done, just wind it again so it's full and operational whenever you need it again. Although it looks very unconventional, the dial is actually very easy to read. It's a regulator type of time display, which means that you read the hours and the minutes on separate parts of the face of the watch. So the minutes are displayed on this transparent sapphire disc at 12 o'clock with blue numerals and red squares indicating the tens of minutes. The seconds are displayed by this rotating hollow disc at 9 o'clock. The hours are indicated by this proprietary fluidic display. The numbers are quite visible, white contrasting to the blue track. The hours are displayed by the two fluids, moving around in this tiny medical-grade glass capillary, one transparent and one blue. They never mix, and at the crossroads of their meeting, you can read the time. It acts like a line or indicator, so you'd first read the hours, afterwards the minutes and the seconds if you care about them. You might have noticed that the glass capillary isn't a full circle, so at 6 o'clock something happens. The fluids retrograde back to 6 and reset so the time indication continues uninterrupted. You have to be careful by setting this watch. It's not advisable to move the hours onwards quickly. You should move it in 15-minute increments. You turn the crown, wait for the fluids to move, and then slowly continue. Between 2 and 3 o'clock, there's also a hollowed brushed disc indicating the power reserve, which is 65 hours. Once you turn the watch around, you see the power plant. The movement is basically divided in two parts. On top you've got the manual winding movement part, of which powers the watch. It's created for the timekeeping aspect, of course, the balance wheel and the Swiss lever movement doing its job. On the lower part you can see the two bellows slowly contracting and expanding as the hours pass. The two parts are connected with a cam system. Within each of the bellows there's also a temperature compensation device to make sure the temperature deviations aren't a bigger problem than it should be. The movement is magnificent, there's no other way to say this, guys. The 3D architecture and depth of it always makes me smile and wonder. A combination of machine and hand finishing, rhodium plating of the bellows and the grey knock treatment of the bridges, it's a very distinct HYT design. On the lower part of the dial we've got kinda sapphire grille, if you will, with holes to let the light through. The most amazing part is definitely the glass capillary and the bellows operating it. The capillary is created in a linear form at first and afterwards heated and shaped into its precise circular form. The inner walls are also coated so the liquids don't mix. And because of this it also doesn't mess with the accuracy of the watch. The proportions are definitely something you should take a close look at if you want to buy a watch like this and if you have smaller wrists. Although the black DLC coated titanium case isn't heavy, it's quite big. It features a mix of polished and satin brushed finishing as well as these two crowns with a rubber grip on both of them. The strap is neatly integrated into the lug so it does sit snug on the wrist. A thickness of 19mm, diameter of 51mm, as well as a lug-to-lug of approximately 57mm. The watch also features a very nice lume, so when the lights go out you can see it in action. There's also a luminous track below the glass capillary as well as on the minute hand. Let's now show the dynamo again, a pretty cool feature if you ask me. It reminds me of the bike I had as a kid. I love independent watchmaking because the watches are sometimes straight out of a sci-fi movie. Let me know what you think about HYT watches and if you would ever wear one. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you next week.